Why Ninja? Tell me the origin of your name.
So I've always been a huge fan of of anime and those types of shows, and also it mainly stems from back in the day in Halo when like someone was chasing you and you went around a corner and you jumped over their head and backsmacked them. It was called the ninja, or you ninja them, and I loved it, and I was like, this needs to be my gamer tag.
So what got you into gaming? Like, what was the first time you really realized gaming was a thing?
My parents, my dad loves video games. He had them in the house, and we just kind of stumbled upon them, me and my brothers, and that was pretty much it. The rest is history from there. I mean, really just continued to purchase all of the future consoles and gamed a lot.
What was the first game that really like spoke to you like that? I mean, you obviously were a gamer, but what was the first game where you like just put thousands of hours into?
Dude, well, I don't know about thousands, but at that age, but like Earthworm Jim, I think was one of the first games that comes to mind, like some OG stuff. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers. I remember this old game, it was a Jurassic Park game, dude, where you could choose to be like the raptor or like the human, and like they have two different storylines. That game, those are like the very first games that I can remember.
So obviously you got into Halo. That was your first big e-sport.
Yeah.
Tell me about your adventure into Halo.
Dude, it all started with Halo 1. My brother got it, and I think I was like 12 or 11 when the game came out. And it was rated M, so my mom was not about me playing it at all. But I was able to convince her. I was like, Mom, look, I'm killing aliens. I'm saving the world. Trust me. Like, don't worry. I'm not gonna become violent from playing these games, because she was doing what every mother should, monitor what their kids are playing. And then after that, I would started playing System Link, playing against my brothers and his friends, and then Halo 2 came out, and it just kept evolving.
When did you realize that you were better than just, I mean, you're good in the neighborhood, right?
Right.
Or you're good with your friends, but when did you realize, like, hey, I'm better than just, in the neighborhood. I'm actually on like a world level good.
Right. I think when I just started smacking everyone in my neighborhood like really bad, and my brothers, and then once Xbox Live came out and I started like getting up there in the ranks, and I remember specifically the time where there was this Halo 2 playlist that came out as a free-for-all playlist. I forget the exact name of it, but I eventually ranked up so high in that playlist, and a bunch of other professional Halo players at the time were also playing in it because it was for a tournament. And I was beating them in games and getting like top 3, top 4 with them in free-for-alls. And I think at that moment I was like, dude, like these guys are getting paid to play and stuff like that and winning tournaments. So
what did your family think when you first came to them? Like, hey, I want to do this professionally. Like, where were you in life, and like, were you had to make a decision like college? Like, what was your decision?
I think I was like 17 when I wanted to like start actually going to these tournaments, and my mom was like, "You're not going into these tournaments. Like, if you do, your dad is coming with you to the first one." And I was like, I'll take that, man. All right. So we ended up traveling to Columbus, Ohio, competing. I think our first event we got losers round 5 in the MLG tournament, which was still honestly great for our first ever LAN event. And then after that, I just kept going to the tournaments. I think I continued to go to college. I went to college actually, even though I was competing. I actually went away to college and just played a lot while I was there too. Second year of college was more local. I came home and stayed, because it was just like I'm still just getting my gen eds and stuff like that. So wanted to just save a lot of money and be closer to home.
When did you realize that you had a different, college? You have a different thought process than just going straight to college. Like, when did you think, like, okay, it's time to actually just focus mainly on gaming?
Yeah, so it was honestly, everything was just kind of perfect. So I still worked at Noodles & Company. I maintained my job there. That was through high school and my 2 years of college. And then I switched over to, oh my gosh, I kind of got lost in the question. No, then I started streaming, right? That was about when I was like 19 years old. So I think that was my second year of college when I started streaming. And then once I started making about like how much someone makes a yearly wage, like minimum wage, I was like, okay, that's when I stopped working my job, and I was still going to college and focusing on that. And then when I started making more money than that, I think it was around like 50 or 60,000. I was like, okay, now this is kind of more than a minimum wage job, and I definitely feel like I could continue to grow this. And that was when I stopped going to college and focused on streaming full time.
Obviously, back in the day, esports is nowhere near it is now.
Right.
Like, so you must have had times where you're like, hey, maybe like obviously the ride looks good, but you must have had some points where you were in the like down, and you were like, oh, maybe I shouldn't keep playing Halo, or so. Can you talk about a few of those times where you felt like, hey, maybe I should get out of esports?
Yeah, 100%. That happened twice. Destiny was coming out. Halo kind of fell off on the back burner a little bit completely, and that was during Halo Reach when MLG dropped their tournament. And I think that was when I was still definitely streaming at that point. And I took like a month or two off off of streaming because I was like, I kind of got burnt out on Halo. And then my brother and I fell in love with this game called SWTOR, which was like a Star Wars MMO that came out during the time. And that was like, I was still going to school. So I was just going to school. I was doing that. And then I think eventually that was one of those times where I still was going to school, stopped streaming. Yeah. But it wasn't one of those like, this is my full-time job. I wasn't still there like mentally. And then the main one was Destiny, where I was playing Destiny 1. The alpha and the beta, I was doing incredible in viewers, and then I detached my retina, and I had to have a surgery on that. It was this little guy right here. It was like a month and a half of me being like face down for like the healing process, so I couldn't stream or play video games. And at that moment, I think after that, once I realized my viewers weren't going up anymore, they kind of actually fell off to like the hundreds. That was when I went back to school again for like half a year.
Obviously, when you think of Ninja, you think of Twitch, and you think of streaming. You mean breaking all those numbers. When did you first get introduced to streaming in general?
I think it was the beginning of Halo Reach. A buddy of mine, a friend of mine, we were on the same team. He was like, "Hey, our owner is like really wants to get into the streaming thing." He actually wanted it to be on his website, which is away from Justin TV, but it wasn't up yet and it wasn't ready. So I ended up getting a capture card, starting to stream in preparation of being able to stream on his website, but that completely fell through. So I was just streaming on Justin TV, and then that just kind of happened and evolved into Twitch, and here we are.
All right, so obviously Halo, and then the Battle Royale,
Yeah.
H1Z1, and then PUBG, and then finally Fortnite. Can you talk a little bit about your history into when you finally caught up to Fortnite?
Yeah, so it all started with H1Z1. I think a couple buddies of mine were just like, "Hey man, like the survival mode is super fun. It's like zombies and stuff like that, and it's way better than DayZ, so you should play it." I was like, "All right, I'll try it." And my viewers immediately already started to kind of go up at that moment, and I noticed it, but I was still competing in Halo. Then I started playing the Battle Royale section of H1Z1, and then that's when I started to get fall in love with that style of game, the adrenaline rush at the end. Started winning those games, went to the very first tournament ever from Daybreak, won that tournament. Then that game kind of just fell off a little bit. Obviously, I went to a lot more tournaments after that. This is I think a year and a half later. Then PUBG comes out. Pub Battlegrounds was an incredible game. They did, for in its time, they were updating it very frequently. But once the player base started to skyrocket, the servers kind of started to just take a huge dive. The games weren't as fun anymore. They released a new map. The new map wasn't that great, in my opinion. And then Fortnite comes out. And I was monitoring Fortnite so much while I was still streaming and playing PUBG. And I was like, all right, this game's great. A lot of the top streamers and top players from PUBG are like kind of bashing on the game, and they're not streaming it, right? They played it, and now they're just going to continue to play PUBG. But I was watching every single time they were playing, and it looked incredibly fun to me. So that was when I just decided, like, all right, this is the perfect opportunity to switch over, just go full-time Fortnite.
When did you realize that you were blowing up? Like, what was the first time playing Fortnite where you're like, hey, this is kind of different. I feel like that my life is changing in a positive direction.
I think every day was like 10,000 viewers, then 12,000, 13,000, 14,000, 15,000, and it was literally like that for like 2 or 3 months until we started averaging about 100,000 viewers every day consistently. 90,000 to 100, which is just out of this world. Something I never thought that could be done on Twitch, right? Unless there was some sort of tournament style. But I think it was like the day March 14th was playing with Drake was literally what just completely propelled me and I think changed and kind of made it acceptable to game.
Just talk about that. I mean, the Drake night was, famous. People were tweeting from every type of media, music, TV, sports, video games, everything just kind of came together. Just talk about that, and then waking up the next morning and just seeing the flood of news and the text messages and DMs you probably got from that. Just tell me about that.
It was one of the most amazing experiences ever, and I'm super blessed that it happened. I don't think that I would have gotten to where I was as fast or as quickly without it, no doubt. And I think that it was just so crazy. I was getting obviously text messages, and I had my there was plans to play beforehand, so I kind of informed like my family and stuff like that, and their friends were like, hey, look out the next couple of days, look for like a tweet because it might be happening, and it was just a miracle.
Obviously, you played with Drake. You played with a lot of sports athletes, a lot of famous people. Who do you think is the best? Who's the best celebrity Fortnite player if you had to pick right now?
If I had to pick right now the best celebrity Fortnite player, I don't think I could. I think that it's a close call. I've played with a lot of the guys who kind of just do the exact same thing, which is I feel like they're the same. So I can't give it an exact answer.
Not even Marshmallow? Not even...
Well, Marshmallow's incredible. I mean, you know what? We did win an E3 tournament together, so, if I had to pick.
Right now, Fortnite is picking up steam as an esport. What do you think it needs to do to, break through as the next big esport and have a, not just a little spurt, but actually have a long future?
I think Epic just making sure that the tournament format is everything. Battle Royales are RNG, random number generated, right? And I think that getting as far away from that as possible and developing the most consistent style tournament bracket, layout really is what's going to be able to give it the validity that it needs, or the validation that it needs for people to be like, okay, yeah, this game isn't random, this is fun. And I think that's one thing that they're really focusing on, is making sure that it's fun to watch. I think esports is obviously always about the most competitive, but I think you're always going to get the top players who are going to rise to the top. But making it as fun of a match to watch as possible is their focus, and that's important.
I mean, looking at you, we have all these different besides yourself, what other players do you really respect on the scene right now? Who do you think are up and coming players in the Fortnite scene professionally?
There's so many, man, and I think the worst part is that just the only ones who get recognition are the streamers, right? I've played the game for almost 1,000 hours already, maybe more. And there are people that they kill me every day. Whether it's I made a mistake or I wasn't trying as hard. It's there's still great players who don't stream, and I think that there really isn't a specific way to be like, hey, this guy's better than this guy who's up and coming. I think the more tournaments that we have that can allow players to come in who don't necessarily have a following or a status, that will be a really good way to determine the best up and coming.
I think, obviously, right now you're the biggest streamer in the world. Maybe some people in China. Maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe. But, obviously, with the esports scene of Fortnite becoming bigger, obviously the question's going to be, going to an event or a pro event is going to take away from the streaming audience.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's your mindset when it comes to streaming versus going pro?
That's a great question, man. I'm still right now, on the, the fence. I don't really know if I want to focus one or the other. I know that what you just said, obviously I'm going to have to go to these tournaments. It's going to take away from my stream time, going to take away from content. That also takes away from my Instagram posts of Fortnite stuff, and also my YouTube channel, and also my Twitter clips that I also tweet that gets a bunch of interactions and mentions. All of that definitely falls off when I start going to tournaments. And if I don't win those tournaments, then I'm not going to be able to recoup that money back. It's very hard. So right now, these online events that have been going on is just absolutely perfect, right? Any online tournament where I can stay at home, stream the entire thing, right? Gain subscribers and ad revenue and stuff like that, and then also bring in new followers. It's just a win-win to stay at home and stream. It's very difficult to be able to go out, unless it becomes a global thing where everyone is tuning in. LeBron James goes and he's playing in the NBA, finals, right? Everyone's watching, so many people are talking about it. That doesn't necessarily happen with esports, right? Not the entire world isn't talking about Faker when he wins a World Series, a World Championship. It's hard.
Yeah. You admitted yourself that when you went to the Fortnite Pro-Am, which you won, great, you're playing for friend Marshmallow. It was a great event.
Yeah, it was.
It was really hot, so that was the big
Yeah, that was we were sweating up there, man. Those our entire gear was melted. Not really, but it was super hot.
But you admitted that you lost, I believe, 40,000 subs just not streaming for 2 days, and you were still at an event. People could still tune in and watch you. But you lost 40,000 subscribers. How did you feel coming away from that event when you saw that number?
Yeah, we knew that the we call it a subpocalypse. Whenever there's a massive surge of subscribers due to some sort of an event. So in this case, it was Fortnite's Twitch Prime exclusive packs, where if you subscribe with Twitch Prime, or not even subscribed, if you just had Twitch Prime, you could claim loot, right? So that always drives a massive amount of subscribers to a channel, and we knew that was when we were leaving, that was the day, those were the days, and not being able to stream those days, you can't recoup those losses. You can't be there live while you have those people who could resub that day. It's very important to be streaming as much as possible, because if someone misses a day, to resub, they might never resub or use it on someone else.
I think when a lot of people look at you, they just say oh, it's the dream, right? So your life is so easy, it's perfect. Oh, you get to play video games, make so much money, but does it you are being propositioned as the face of gaming, not just Fortnite, but CNN. All these places are saying you're the poster boy of video gaming, and everyone looks at you if you do one little wrong thing, everyone snaps on you, and you have to. If you miss one day of streaming, people hate on you. You lose subscribers, you lose money. Does it ever get to you all this because you came from you were Halo Pro, but then in the last year you've blown up so much is how does it feel to be like propositions as the face of it? Does it get hard?
It's I don't really like see myself as that. I think that like seeing that that I'm not that, it helps, right? I don't feel that pressure. And also my wife is really great at always, talking me down whenever I'm like worried about losing subs or we're not going to be able to stream this, and she always just keeps me focused. And we've actually, recently partnered with Red Bull, and a lot of these events that we are doing when we're traveling, they're being very amazing, like putting a stream setup while I'm there, even if it's for just a couple of hours. I think showing to my viewers and subs and stuff like that, that I'm trying to get as much content out there as possible while traveling, hopefully is worth something.
I mean, especially here at the Fortnite, Rise Up, Rise Dawn. I mean, your wife's emceeing it, your brother's playing in it. Like, how important is family to you when it comes to like your career?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love them to death. I love my entire family, and I want to hang out with them as much as possible. And I've just been trying to paint, this picture to them that it's like, hey, like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is a once in a lifetime thing that happens to like 1% of the population. Or less than. Like I'm trying to make as much time as possible to hang out with them. Making the effort to come to an event like this so I can spend time with them is always incredible. But since my parents don't live in the same state anymore, they're over in Arizona, it's becoming difficult to see them right now, especially when things are just getting so crazy.
Can you live a normal life when you go to the supermarket, or if you go anywhere? Like, obviously, if you go to E3 or Comic-Con or Anime Expo, you're not going to be able to go anywhere. But when you just go, like, if you and your wife want to go get, some sushi can you?
Everywhere now. I don't think there's been a single moment where we haven't gone out in the house in the last like 3 months where we haven't been like recognized, whether it's while we're driving or whether it's while we're, anywhere, sushi place, froyo place, especially the movies. It's, I don't want to because I love meeting people and I don't want to like hide it, right? I feel like I'm not ashamed, but I'm trying to not meet people if I have a hoodie up and glasses. Or sunglasses on and stuff like that, especially with the hair, right? I mean, if I had a hat on or something like that, it would probably wouldn't be recognized as much. But I don't mind it.
So you were at the ESPYs a few days ago in Los Angeles. Just tell me a little bit about that experience.
That was incredible and super humbling. Like just to meet so many fans who were there, like just kind of on the outside, like shouting at our names and stuff like that. And then also a lot of the athletes. I think it opened up my eyes for sure. I didn't realize there were so many people that played Fortnite and knew and watched my streams, my content, YouTube channel and all that stuff. Like it was from like start to finish, it was hectic in a good way.
I heard some of the players were actually fans of you before you even knew it. So who are some of the players that came up to you to say that they were fans of you?
Literally, a lot of college guys. I think there was a whole a Catholic school college team that like crushed the championship. All of them, they were all huge fans. And it was super awesome to meet them. They were super nice guys. And then just the whole thing was such a blur. We had like no sleep that entire weekend. So I don't remember anyone specifically, but the entirety of it was just mind blowing.
Obviously you're a sports fan.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about your sports fandom. Who are your favorite teams? Who are your favorite players?
All right. So I was born in Detroit. All right. So I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and that's because my dad. We moved to Chicago when I was a little baby. He was a Lions fan long enough until my oldest brother wanted to be a Lions fan. But then my dad was like, the Lions are not very good. So now I'm going to be Bears fan because we lived in Chicago for I think it was like 10, 12, 15 years. I think you have the right to switch allegiances. But then when I got into football, my brother John was still a Lions fan, so he made me a Lions fan. So I love NFL. I watch every game I possibly can on Sundays, and then. Chicago Blackhawks fan because my middle brother got me into hockey and he was a Blackhawks fan. And then I don't really have like a specific professional soccer team that I support. I don't have I don't watch enough to know. And then I think when it comes to like the NBA and stuff like that, I just like watching good players.
I've heard that your wife's a Green Bay Packers fan.
This
so as a Lions and Packers fan, how is that on a Sunday when it's the Packers versus Lions?
Oh, we actually met we met during a Halo tournament. This is a long time ago, but our very first hangout ever when we were both single was due to a Lions-Packers bet, right? I said, if the Lions win, you have to come visit me first. If the Packers win, I have to come visit you first in college. And I knew the Lions were going to lose. So the Packers won, and I had to go visit her. But we're both really good with it. When we play one another, there's never any smack talk. I've made Jess, really just love I think more the game of football and just having a good game. Watching a good game. So, we enjoy when each other's teams win because, I don't want to see her mad. She doesn't want to see me mad. But when we play against one another, it gets a little spicy sometimes.
call your shot. If you could play with one athlete in the world, and you could do it with one athlete, who would it be?
I mean, it would. Look, LeBron would be epic, but I don't really think he games. I would want a game with someone who likes the game, if that makes sense, right? I don't want it to be like, oh, I want to play with this person because I just want to play with them. I'd want them to enjoy the experience. So whoever is, I guess anyone and everyone.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah.
So we're here, Rise Up, Rise Down, the Fortnite event in Chicago. You're kind of bringing, your love of gaming to the Midwest. I mean, you were in Chicago. Just how important is that to you that you're bringing, such a huge event, a kind of a crazy event, going from 8 p.m. at night to 5 in the morning? Just how does it feel?
I've never done an event like this where it's overnight, so it's actually super interesting and amazing that I get to do this here in my home city, Chicago. I never lived in the city. I was always out in the suburbs, but my parents would bring us here every once in a while. I just know that if there are any kids who are coming to this tournament who might not be in like a good place in the area, and it's like a kind of like a getaway. That's really the only thing that matters to me, as long as there's just giving back in a good way to a good city.
But you're not gonna take it easy, right?
Absolutely not. No. If I can beat them, I will and win. But technically, I can't win the event. I'm not allowed to. So like if I get first, or somehow me and Dr. Lupa we get first, then whoever gets second would technically get first.
How are you going to stay alive? I mean, there's never been an esports event that I've covered, from League of Legends, Overwatch, now Fortnite, like 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Just how are you going to stay? I mean, obviously you're okay. I mean, you're a gamer, but
I'll be good.
You'll be good.
Yeah, I'll be good. Yeah, obviously I'll have a couple Rebels here and there, not too many, but I think I'm taking a little power nap beforehand too. And I mean, when it comes to like an event like this, there's just this adrenaline, man. I don't get sleepy. It's like you don't even worry about the clock too. You're just gaming, having fun. So. And the event's going to be an absolute blast. I can't wait. I mean, I'm literally going to have both my brothers going to be there. One's spectating, one's playing. I got my wife, doing the interviews and stuff like that. It's going to be such a unique experience. I don't think anyone's going to be tired.
Can you talk a little bit about how important your wife is? I mean, she's been everywhere with you. I mean, you two become, so dynamic on the scene. Just talk about how, important she is to your career.
I mean, she is everything. Whenever I have an issue with streaming or there's something going on that I have no one to talk to. Like, I love my brothers to death, and I can, confide in them sometimes. But to be able to, she understands streaming and gaming so much now that it's just like it's like I can talk to a different me, and she just keeps me going a lot of the time.
Did you ever think this was possible? I mean, even a year ago, did you ever think that you could be at this level?
I don't think anyone thought anyone could be at this level, right? I think that's the most important thing to realize. So I'm just trying to do, everything in my power to make sure that I'm just staying level-headed, focused, and just being a good role model to, a lot of the kids out there and parents who need to see that you can play video games and not be, I don't know, what people think that people are when they play video games.
Yeah, talking a little bit about that. I mean, I think you're the first real streamer who's high profile, who's, taking a lot of chunk of their time as, doing family-friendly streams. I mean, right now, most of the popular Twitch streamers or streamers in general, are vulgar or crass, and you make it. I mean, obviously, sometimes you have like later streams where you, a little bit more loose, but you actually give chunk of times to more family-friendly content. Just talk about that and why you do it.
It's just super important. I mean, I never used to, obviously, because I just didn't really realize the impact that I had on a bunch of people or, kids. And then once Jess and I started to stream, a lot more, and our content was getting out there to more kids, and we were getting bigger with Fortnite, we had a lot of little children coming up to us being like, Ninja, oh my gosh, like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7s, 8s. And their parents coming up to me just like, oh, they love watching all the time. And I'm like, well, if these guys like watching my stream with some of the stuff that I say, like, it is super important. And it's not like I wouldn't say it, when I'm not streaming. It's just like it's super important to not, because some parents might not even be able to monitor what their kids are watching, right? So these are only the good parents coming up to us who know what their kids are watching. So we just felt like it was 100% necessary to just kind of do the monitoring and, parenting. Not necessarily parenting, but, for them to make sure that these kids don't grow up listening to someone swear every 5 seconds.
I mean, you've done so much in the last year. Just looking forward, like, what's one thing you still want to accomplish?
I honestly just want to stay level-headed and just keep getting bigger. That's it, really. Just keep up, just continue to grow and just set the bar, even higher for gaming and everyone in the scene. Just bring it to, if I can, do everything in my power to bring it to where the entire world just sees it as like a sport equal, you know, or even just an entertainment equal. I think that would be.
To end things off on, do you see any future that doesn't contain Fortnite and Ninja?
Not for a while, man. Not unless Epic does something bad, which I don't think they will. They're really on point lately with, you know, just their updates and keeping the game fresh. And as long as another game doesn't come out that is free to play, that is, you know, just as unique and entertaining and across every single platform on Xbox and PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch and mobile, like, you know what I mean? They're doing everything right. They literally just checked off every single box possible to make this game blow up the way it did. And I don't see another company or another genre coming out doing that, you know, anytime soon.
Why are events like this important to you in terms of whether it's E3 Pro-Am to this Red Bull event to whatever's next for you? What is that drives you to come here instead of staying at home with your family?
Right. I mean, just first of all, doing tournaments like this and events like this and being able to stream them on my channel is always fantastic. It's just like a plus. But I think that the E3 event that Epic kind of threw and the Vegas event that I threw, you know, it kind of changes the, you know, people might not even have these ideas, right? So I think it's just nice to know that, like, hey, these can happen, right? Like, people can do these things. There's unlimited possibilities for gaming and certain types of events that can be run. I mean, we had like a concurrent 500,000 viewers during the Vegas event. I mean, I don't know what that's worth to a news outlet or, you know, a TV outlet. It's like, that's not easy to do. And that was just one event, right? I mean, bigger, better stakes could be on the line to attract more and more viewers. And the goal, I think, is to just do incredible events like this to, you know, also give a little bit back to people who want to meet me and also just, you know, play against me. You know, it's not very often that you can, you know, play against Ninja in the 99th floor of the Willis Tower from an 8 p.m. to a 5 a.m. event. Like, that's never been done before.